Hey folks, welcome back. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. I noticed today that News 24 ran a story about the second group of South African refugees coming to the United States. And of course, pretty much most of the story is nonsense. And let's just talk a little bit about that story very quickly here as we go through it. So the story they ran today is titled, Afrikaner Refugees Leaving South Africa for U.S. on Commercial Flights. Well, duh. I've only told you this from the beginning. That's how they're going to get here and confirmed that on multiple occasions that would be the case. They say the following. The U.S. government has been drumming up false claim about a G-side against Afrikaners. Now, that's just lies, folks. That's News 24 propaganda. Just like the false crime narrative, the media is repeating the phrase, repeatedly distracting from the genuine reason for the refugee program, unjust racial discrimination. Nothing to do with their nonsense. They're the ones with the G word. They're the ones, the politicians, the media in South Africa keep drumming this up. In fact, when Donald Trump was asked that question at the meeting with Ramaphosa in the Oval Office, he was specifically directly asked, do you believe there's a white G side in South Africa? To which Trump said, I'm not convinced. So why are you lying about the United States drumming up claims? Because we're not. You're the one lying. News 24. They say on Sunday, the U.S. Embassy told News 24 that there were more Afrikaner refugees who are now taking commercial flights to the U.S. But the term refugees is in quotes. So why is the term refugee in quotes? The program legally exists and is underway. The fact that South African media, yellow journalism outlets can't accept United States law does not mean that these people are not refugees. They also say the U.S. government is reaching out to eligible South Africans for refugee interviews and processing. Well, welcome to the party. I informed the world of this early in the morning of May 12, 2025, as I sat at O.R. Tambo Airport in Johannesburg at Wimpy after I ate breakfast. So now you are finally reporting on news that is nearly 3 weeks old, from 20 days ago. They continue. The U.S. Embassy in Pretoria claims it is reviewing inquiries from South Africans who express interest in settling in the United States. So you purport to be a media outlet. Why then, when you request answers to your questions, have you indicated the embassy claims to imply the U.S. Embassy is lying? Is that your intent? What do you mean the U.S. Embassy claims? The U.S. Embassy stated emphatically, they told you. How is that a claim? It's a statement. Do you doubt the veracity of the United States government? If so, don't bother ever asking them questions again. Or, as is patently obvious, you're seeking to craft a narrative to undermine the legitimacy of the program. Folks, that is advocacy, not journalism. This isn't journalistic reporting. This is advocacy. Now, they say refugees continue to arrive in the United States from South Africa on commercial flights as part of the Afrikaner Resettlement Program's ongoing operations. Now, here they correctly use quotation marks for a direct quote, and that's great, except that they lie. It's not the Afrikaner Resettlement Program. These people are dumb as a box of rocks. They even quote the facts in the story that it's racial minorities, and they still call it the Afrikaner Resettlement Program. Why? Why do they continually do that? Because there's an objective here. And this is, again, the racial hatred directed against South African minorities, particularly Afrikaners. They said that queries and calls to Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber's spokesman, Dwayne Assau, went unanswered. Now, why would you contact a South African minister about a domestic U.S. program? What in the world would Leon Schreiber have to do with this program? Does News 24 have any idea how government works? And they continue. The U.S. is insisting on the refugees line, despite the United Nations not having officially declared Afrikaners as refugees. The line? Again, who cares what the United Nations says? As South Africa's politicians are so fond of repeating when defending their racially discriminatory laws and cooked up crime statistics, we are a sovereign nation. Well, so are we. So is the United States. And sovereign long before South Africa. You became sovereign in 1960. We became sovereign in 1776. The Immigration Nationality Act of 1980 governs the United States refugee program, not the United Nations. The South African refugee program is legally consistent with U.S. law, so foot sec. Now, this is where I come into the story. It's fascinating. They claim that on social media posts on Saturday, a second group had arrived in the U.S. According to social media posts, several Afrikaners flew to the U.S. earlier this weekend. No details about the number of Afrikaners who had left were provided in any of the posts. Who said Afrikaners? No one said Afrikaners. No one said Afrikaners. An American content creator and political analyst, Chris Wyatt, well, thank you for that. I mean, you didn't point out that I'm an intelligence analyst and a colonel and a historian, political scientist, university lecturer, but that's okay. At least you didn't disparage me. You did call me a content creator. That's true. And political analyst. So thank you for getting that part right. An American content creator and political analyst, Chris Wyatt, shared a video about white South Africans seeking refuge in the U.S. That's a lie. Nope, those are total lies. I never said Afrikaners. I never said whites. I correctly stated South African families. Look at my post. Now, you see how the media in South Africa lie to distort the truth on the ground? They continue. In a video posted on X by my account at WMWChris, Wyatt reported that his sources had told him about the landing of more Afrikaners on May 30th. That's fake news. Fake news. Yellow journalism. I never said Afrikaners or whites. The link to the video that's posted on X is below this video. There's no mention of Afrikaners. You see the narrative they're going with here. Total nonsense, total bull squirt. And of course, they continue to get facts wrong. The latest developments come after the departure of 49 Afrikaners for the U.S. on 11 May on the claim that they were being persecuted. Now, that's also fake news. As I reported from the very beginning, the total was 59, not 49. Maybe I'm quibbling. But it also wasn't 59 or 49 Afrikaners. There was a colored couple on the flight with their kids. Why do they refuse to report the truth? Because it doesn't suit their narrative. And this strange statement at the end of the story, the U.S. Embassy's insistence on the veracity of the claim that there are Afrikaner refugees follows a working visit by Ramaphosa. What does that sentence mean? It makes no sense. Of course there are South African refugees. The U.S. has granted them that status. Who needs to prove the veracity of that action? Perhaps the author is seeking to deny the legitimacy of the basis for refugee status after Ramaphosa's dog and pony show in the Oval Office. Maybe that's what this is about. But folks, you don't hate the media enough. You do not hate the media enough, especially South African media. Nothing but a passel of lies and factually incorrect information. This is not about farmers. This is not about whites. This is not about crime. This is about unjust racial discrimination. Read the executive order from the 7th of February. Read the program published on the 12th of May on the U.S. Embassy website, zaUSembassy.gov. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated if you want to know the truth. But if you want to mislead people by using a multi-billion-dollar media house to lie to the world, well, I guess then you say these things. But I do want to thank News 24's journalists for at least describing me in generous terms instead of the typical slander and libel the South African media outlets used to describe me. Thank you for that. But your facts are completely incorrect. And if you would like to know more about this, News 24, why didn't you contact me? I'm in contact with Netwerk 24 and Reuters, CBS News, a whole bunch of outlets, ENCA, all of in touch with me trying to establish contact and get information about refugees. Why didn't you just ask me instead of relying on social media? You make a story out of a social media post. Journalism. Anyway, folks, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Thanks a lot. What say you, South Africa, South Africa, Mzansi? What say you, world? Are you tired of this lame, fake journalism? I am. But hey, it keeps me busy. Cheers, folks.